Nagaland's commercial hub, Dimapur, is witnessing a surge in antisocial activities and incidents that is and could affect a normal citizen's life, especially in terms of the well-being and security of the citizens of Dimapur. In just a span of about a month, Dimapur witnessed 2 shooting incidents. In the month of June, GB of supermarket Abdul Talukdar was fatally shot in the Signal Bosti area, and with the swift response of the Dimapur police, 5 individuals have been arrested in connection to this case, according to the Nagaland DGP Rupin Sharma. And in another condemnable incident that took place a few days back, a staffer of Ankit Transport was shot by unidentified assailants at Dimapur's NST colony, which again shook the conscience of Dimapurians. Many organizations and leaders have condemned the incident, and in the past, many renowned leaders have also called for Nagas to come out of the gun culture that is hampering the development, peace and progress of the state. And today the focus is on gun culture in the state and how it affects the growth of Nagaland. And to introspect and retrospect about this current trend of the gun culture in our society, we've got with us our associate editor Alnguli, and we will be speaking more on this topic and how it really affects a normal individual's life in his day-to-day affairs. Thank you so much, sir, for joining me on this bulletin. Well, sir, Dimapur just witnessed 2 shocking incidents of shooting, and this comes in a matter of about a month. In the month of June, or rather in the second week of June, we had the supermarket, New Market GB, Abdul Talukdar, fatally shot by unidentified assailants, in which the police responded very quickly and 5 individuals have been arrested. And now just a few days back, a staffer of a shop was shot by bike-borne assailants. When it comes to gun culture, renowned leaders in the past have always spoken about it, and the public in Nagaland know that there is the existence of gun culture. So with such incidents taking place in just a matter of a few months, do you think that this culture is seeing a resurgence in the society?
Yeah, the younger generation will not be able to comprehend that. I think about 30 years ago, my generation, we were the ones that actually experienced gun culture as we know it. We experienced it first case. And during those times, it was like horrible. Every day you would wake up to reports of people being killed. You would find people dead in your colonies, and you would, even in the streets too, you don't know who would come running and shoot someone in front of you dead. And I remember in Kohima, I was coming down to Dimapur, and I was at the NST station in Kohima during those days. I was in college, and suddenly I remember this guy in front of me. He was in argument with someone, and then someone came and just shot him just in front of me, just like that. And I also remember another incident in Woka. This person was coming on a bus. It was near our colony, and a number of gunmen took him out of the bus and shot him. Almost all my brother's friends, they were killed by the so-called nationalist groups. And it was, my time was a time, especially my generation, where we experienced firsthand the violence that we are seeing now. But I think it is fair to say that the violence that we're seeing now, the gun violence, is not as much as we used to see those days, but it still doesn't take away the fact that you're taking away someone else's life and you've got blood on your hands. So there are 2 things here, Akave. I think we have always maintained that when there is a weak government, then there will also be weaker security safeguards for the people. If the government is strong, then the security safeguards for the people will also be strong. And what we are seeing now, the killing of the GB of New Market, and now we have a member of the transport community who was shot dead. So if you look at a pattern, you are looking at a failure of the administration in that regard, because here it's not that the police people will have to be in each and every place, and to be fair to them, they cannot do that. But the very fact that crime continues to be committed blatantly, and even in broad daylight itself says that criminal elements are not really in awe of the government or the police forces activity. And I think this is a very common theme in our conversation.
Yes. All right, sir, now with the emergence of broadcast media and especially social media, news spreads like wildfire. When it comes to police action or the efficiency of police action, they are under continuous scrutiny by various aspects of journalists, or rather media houses. In this regard, regarding the GB Talukdar's shooting case that happened in the month of June, the Dimapur police acted swiftly and could arrest 5 individuals in that regard. Now, when it comes to the police, do you feel that the existence of the nationalist groups, that too in large numbers and that too in various factions, numerous factions, could also be one of the reasons how the police are also facing a hindrance in doing the actual job? Because when it comes to nationalist groups, somehow belonging to that particular nationalist groups, they claim to have some kind of immunity. So do you believe with the existence, and that too Dimapur being a commercial hub, this is where the money flows in the state. So do you believe that with the existence of numerous groups, the police are also held incapable of doing the duty at full 100%?
Yeah, I think the fact that the nationalist organizations are also armed quite make the argument very convincing for the police authority to not really go against them. And another excuse that the authorities often make is the ceasefire ground rules.
Yes.
So now I think this is an excuse that most people take, especially the authorities. Now the ceasefire is going on between the government of India and this or that group. We cannot do this or do that, especially when it comes to criminal activities. The thing is, I think we are not really making a distinction between criminal actions
Yes.
and administrative breach or failures. That's different. When we talk of the political agreement between the groups and the government, then I think it has necessarily to do with administration of how they conduct themselves with each other and how they put their demands and how they resolve their issues at a political level. That's different. But if you pull out a gun and shoot someone, I think that does not come under any kind of a nationalist issue discussions. When you steal someone's money, I don't think that's something or anything to do with political questions. So it is true that we have how many groups do we have now?
So I'm also
24. I think the last count we had was about 24.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we have this many groups running Nagaland, and I think I read a certain minister from Nagaland telling Tehelka, the news magazine, that there are no parallel governments in Nagaland, but that is a lie. Because right now, if you see, you have many nationalist administrations running the show, and especially as you have mentioned, places like Dimapur where money is flowing. So it is difficult for the authorities to actually put their finger on a certain motive, on a certain nationalist organization, because there are just too many of them and the complexities are very deep. So it is a problem for the police authorities. But then again, like I said, if you have a strong government, I think the security safeguards for the people will be very strong. But if you are a weak government, then definitely the people are defenseless.
All right, so when it comes back to all controversy, everything is related to money, and Dimapur being the commercial hub, a lot of incidents, or rather antisocial incidents, take place in the district of Dimapur. Now in this regard, sir, when such incidents happen and the media goes to speak to the concerned stakeholders, a lot of them have asked and have also they have come out openly and has said that there should be one government and one tax, and
right.
Taxation is one of the biggest issues in Nagaland, with multiple taxations being paid by a lot of business people and people who have businesses. In this regard, now after 20 years, the urban local body elections took place, in which all wards of Dimapur Town Council 23 have been demarcated officially, and now there is a clear boundary. Now what another point is that these urban local bodies, when we heard the ministers speak during the election campaign, they had stressed that these ULBs now will have to generate their own income by levying tax. Now with the existence of multiple taxation, and now with the formation of the Dimapur town councils and the municipal councils, is there going to be an added pressure on the stakeholders or the citizens of Dimapur in particular, or Nagaland in general? And do you believe that with the existence and with the emergence of ULBs now, do you think that the taxation will increase or decrease, or will kind of find a balance between the various taxations already existing in Nagaland?
There will definitely be no balance in this regard, Akive, because for the nationalist organizations, whether you would like to give or not, they're still going to take it. There is one thing to remember. But for the legal entities and the legal institutions and community leaderships like the municipal establishments,
Yes.
whether you want to give it or not, you still won't give it. So that's the difference between giving tax to the nationalist organizations and to the municipal establishments that represent you. So now, when we talk of taxation and when we talk of balancing out, there won't be any balance here, because like I said, whether you like it or not, you still have to pay to the nationalist organizations, and if you don't pay, they're most likely going to come at you. But for the municipal establishments, the pressure will be more for them, because first thing in 2012, when the community groups in Nagaland, especially the Ekau, they started raising the issue of multiple taxation. The whole idea was for the government to go against the nationalist organizations who are claiming tax. And by the way, I should add here that the tax they are collecting is not for any services. So the whole idea for the community groups was that they would pressurize the government of Nagaland to go against the nationalist organizations who are claiming tax. But instead of doing that, the government in 2012, they issued an order saying all taxation, municipal taxations, have been revoked. They are now banned. So instead of actually addressing the disease, they address only the symptom. And that is the reason why the municipal establishments today are in a dilemma, because now we have municipal and town councils, and all taxation have been banned. Where are you going to get your revenue from?
Yes.
Sanitation tax is banned, toll tax is banned, water tax is banned, and there is one called development tax, which is banned. So how are you going to generate the money now? Because most of the time the state authorities will not go against a nationalist group, and like I said earlier, we should also remember that they are armed. So it is in no way that the government will go against them. So what they're going to do is they're going to take the weaker issue and address that. They're going to take only the symptom and address that instead of going after the disease. So there will be no balance. The status quo will remain, but the pressure now will be on the municipal town councillors and how to raise money. And knowing Nagaland, we're not going to pay anything to the municipal authorities. We don't like tax.
All right, in this regard, sir, it is an open secret that the prices of commodities in Dimapur are comparatively a little more expensive than the other areas, especially in Nagaland. Dimapur could be cheap, but as you go towards inner Nagaland, every commodity, the price increases. A lot of this has to do with the multiple taxation system.
Right.
Well,
right.
also now, in this regard, when the Lok Sabha elections were taking place, the Congress star campaigner Randeep Surjewala had come to Nagaland and to campaign for its candidate Subhamaran Jamir, had openly claimed that brick prices in Nagaland are one of the most expensive all over the country. He even gave an example, and he claimed that there is a syndicate that exists, and this is something that the public of Nagaland know. It's an open secret, and there is also knowledge that a lot of politicians and businesses are backed by this nationalist groups. Why is there so much silence in this regard, and why is the voice of the people not being heard, or why are they not raising their voices?
Yeah, it's an open secret. Everyone knows who is involved in all this. And I think here, I think we need to talk about all the democratic discourses that have always advocated that the people should not be afraid to raise their voices. The whole idea of not fearing when you vote, the idea of not being anxious and fearful of people who do wrong to you, I think it is very relevant here. And in the context of Nagaland, I think 50 years of the nationalist movement and the military conflicts that have been going on in Nagaland has somehow created a generation of Naga people who are now comfortable in this whole space of not speaking up, Yes. And that is costing us a lot. It is costing us a lot in terms of everything, anything, because there is no free and fair discourse, free and fair conversations, and there is no honest discourse from the government and from the people, that we are not able to enjoy the full benefits of what democracy is giving us. It could be development, it could be education, it could be healthcare, it could be going against the corrupt establishment. So we know that all the business establishments in Nagaland, I think they are somehow in one way or the other linked with the political organizations, linked with politicians, linked with the nationalist organizations. We all know it. And of course, that is the reason why we have this syndicate system, for which we're paying a lot. So we know it, but because we fear the reprisals, and because we fear the reprisals from the nationalist group and other criminal elements that might be involved in that, transaction, we do not raise our voice. And there is an angle to why we don't raise our voice. If the government that you elected, or if the government establishment even showed or demonstrated in the past that they could protect the people, then I think the people would also have the confidence to actually stand up and say, hey, this is wrong. So the complexity is the interplay of fear and the politics and money and the guns. This complex interplay of politics and fear is the reason why Nagaland is in a very bad place right now. So we fear because we don't have protection. We have no one to stand for us, not even the government, and that is why we fear speaking up, because the one that is supposed to be protecting us is involved in the same thing that we fear speaking up against.
All right, sir, do you believe all major civil society organizations and even the present government, whenever anything is formed, they always have one claim, and that is the quick expedition of the Naga issue, so that there is a solution that is acceptable by all Nagas? Do you believe that because of the stalling of this Naga issue and without it having come to a conclusion, these effects have been recurring in nature? And do you believe that with the solution or Naga solution, if Nagas get the Naga solution in the Naga issue, do you believe that these effects will slowly fade away?
No, definitely not, Akivi. If there was a solution to the Naga political issue, and if something like that we have been dreaming about would come, then I think it will only change the nature, the political nature of the state. It wouldn't change the character of the society, Akivi. Yes. Because we know a lot of democratic societies across the world who are free, who are independent, they have their own political dispensations, but they still have crime. Yes. They still have law and order problems. So what we are seeing here, kidnapping, killing innocent people, extorting from people, these are not part of a political nature of a state. These are part of the character of a people. So of course, like to some extent, I think a political solution will somehow change the dynamics a little bit, but it will not necessarily take away the ills that is plaguing the society today. Extortion, killing. It won't change. It won't change, Akibi.
All right, so thank you so much for joining me on this special newsroom and giving us insights about the existence of the gun culture in Naga society and how it affects the normal citizens of the state. Thank you so much. Well, that
Thank you
was
for
our
having me.
associate editor, Al Muli, and he just gave a small aspect of what gun culture, about the existence of gun culture in our state and the existence of several entities, or rather antisocial activities taking place in the name of a disguise. Well, we hope, and also all Nagas are hoping, that our society can get rid of this stimuli of gun culture, and we can come back to a resolute path of growth and development, and especially peace.